They are literally afraid of me. They're literally afraid of me. Am I scary, darling?
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm scary. How scary am I?
You can scare the bejesus off of I don't know, whatever.
How? How do I scare the bejesus out of whatever?
I don't know. You have a presence, honey. Remember, you knocked my hat off without even touching it. Just went.
I was playing.
I know you were playing.
Yeah.
But you did.
How did I do it?
You went like this. And then my hat went. And I went, damn.
Welcome to the Driving to the Rest podcast. This is Inelia.
And this is Larry. Just a quick note. If you're hearing this, you're on our free feed, which means you'll only get the first part of this conversation.
To access the rest, go drivingtotherest.com and subscribe to the Wisdom Keeper Hour.
Join us and our expert panelists for detailed insights and the after party where you're invited to join in the conversation. Head over to drivingtotherez.com and become a subscriber.
Your $8 subscription keeps this podcast ad-free and helps us keep the lights on and maybe even get a decent cup of coffee. More importantly, it connects you with a community of passionate wisdom keepers like yourself. So if you're ready to go deeper, join us at drivingtotherest.com and support the journey. When wisdom keepers and seekers meet up.
Yeah, that's a good title.
Mm-hmm.
This week's interesting week.
It has been very interesting. So I'm going to read part of the article and then we can discuss different things that come up.
That sounds good.
And just a reminder, the Wisdom Keeper Hour that comes as a behind the paid wall, $8 a month. You get dozens and dozens of interesting topics, deep dives into situations and things that we're not allowed to say out loud in the public realm. A lot of woo subjects. And this week we're going to be talking to two of our panelists.
Two of our panelists.
Who are presently traveling in Europe, meeting up with other Walk With Me Now members.
Yes.
Right? Walk With Me Now is my platform. All right. Let me just read some and then we can talk about it. This has indeed been an intriguing and interesting week. To begin with, a lot of clarity has been coming my way about the nature of the split. The light-dark paradigm, the light paradigm, and the dark paradigm.
That's like a three-way split?
Light-dark, light-dark. Yeah, it's a three-way split, yeah.
Ooh. I always thought it was two.
Well, what we experience, I think, is a two-way split. But I think generally speaking, we experience it as a two thing, like light or dark.
Mostly people think of it as light or dark, not light and light dark.
Exactly.
So it's light and light dark.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say the reality that most of us experience on a daily basis is a light dark.
Yes.
And do any of us experience a dark?
I think a lot of people are deeply embedded in just darkness,
But there's still a little light in there, or they're just like full on in dark?
It really much depends. There's a very few amount of humans on the planet who are dark beings. They don't even have a smidgen of light in them. So I would say for them, they purely exist in the dark paradigm.
Okay.
But for most people, even if they're completely embedded and submerged in darkness, there's still that little spark in their soul that is made of light. So,
okay.
And their bodies too.
He's agreeing.
He agrees.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. The place in our experience, the way in which the dark side reacts to light impinging into their realms, and how things go when meeting and working with folk who have a foot on each side, the light and the dark split. Do you know what that means?
Well, it's like I understand it to mean that sometimes we are expressing our light side and we engage with people who are straddling the whole, like the dark too, got drama teaches me stuff and these hard lessons are great and, this kind of stuff. So if you're like leaning or generally going or accessing reality through the light side of the paradigm and you interact clearly with people who are not or are in light dark or maybe even dark part of light, then it's pretty obvious what happens is like these aren't compatible.
They're not compatible.
It's like can't hear you, you can't hear me, and the part you do hear you've interpreted to mean you're engaged in a dark game and pretending to be light.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah.
You agree? Yeah, she totally is into it.
Okay.
So these are the messy part about having a split, right?
Yeah. So, recently, Walk With Me Now, one of the homeworks was to invite at least one person, and not just invite them, but bring them into Walk With Me Now.
Yep.
My platform.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think I've had it heard, or nobody has posted, hey, everyone, meet my friend or meet this person I brought in.
Right.
I don't think none of the members.
Nobody succeeded.
have succeeded in bringing just one person in.
Right.
And it's like they have all these, quote, excuses, unquote, as to why not.
We'll just call them reasons.
Okay, we'll say that they list all these reasons, right?
Yes, they have reasons.
And there's like dozens and dozens of reasons why not. But there again, they're there, right? They're there.
Yes, they themselves are there.
Yeah. So
despite those reasons.
Despite the reasons, yeah. And behind the thoughts behind giving this homework to everyone was to look at the reasons of why is it when there is a location on the planet, on the internet, where a person can have hundreds of hours of wisdom keeping at their disposal, and many individuals that are extremely amazing, they're ready to discuss things with them and explore things with them, study things with them.
99% of the time when you bring in or engage with the topic of some form, it's met with the light interpretation rather than what are they trying to get out of me here? And, it's like at Walk With Me Now, you don't share data or information, and it's like some form of I understand you're manipulating me or trying to make power over me. And it's like that never goes there.
That never goes there, right?
You post it on, Facebook or YouTube or something like that, and you get like 80% or 20% or some percent are like you're trying to take advantage of us, or
are you a cult leader?
You're a cult leader or whatever, this kind of negative interpretation. And it could be just AI's interpretations, but it's still.
We did see we have talked about the AIs in Facebook before and YouTube too.
Right. Leaning the frequency of the interaction.
Yeah.
And using the comments as, a part of the interaction.
Right.
Anyway, it doesn't we don't have a lot of AIs at Walk With Me Now. So far, trying to lend the conversation into a negative way.
Right. We don't actually have any. Not many. None.
Right. But that is an interesting thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you look at it.
I was meditating on the meaning of Walk With Me Now. WWMN. For those of you who don't know, Walk With Me Now is my online platform. It is dedicated to wisdom seekers and keepers, a way to directly interact with the individuals of the known earth who are fearless, authoritative, strong and in their independent, sovereign path, and have a strong sense of mission. The team and I have had to overcome a mountain of firewalls, limiting programs, and untold barriers to not just form Walk With Me Now in 2014, but also to keep it going for the past 11 years. I didn't want to form Walk With Me Now to begin with. but I did it as a leap of faith at the request of our larger awareness, the human collective.
Right, and it's like it's not like, it's a little bit of reluctance, right? It's like you're reluctant to do that. It's not like, what do you want to do today? I know what. I want to create an online community of whatever's.
Yeah. Although,
Release it and align it and make it so that it only has high frequency allowed, and create the energy bundle and do all this work. And then, that's what I want to do today.
well, a lot of people do want to do that.
They want that experience, but
I didn't.
You're talking about making it. And you don't even want that experience.
No, I'd never wanted that experience, no.
If we were to like, what's the highlight of your day? What do you want to do today? You might like want to write some book.
Yeah, actually, it is talking to Walk With Me Now members on Telegram and reading all the stuff they're up to.
It has changed.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's the interesting part, is like the part where forming it and creating it and making it, not so much, it wasn't even on your list of things that would be a part of your what you want for a day.
Mm-mm.
But as it's grown, it has become a large part of what makes a day a good day.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I thought if the human collective thinks we're ready for an incorruptible group, I will surely give it a go. If we thought of Walk With Me Now, if the thought of Walk With Me Now insults you in any way, or makes you afraid that it is a cult, run! Unsubscribe, remove yourself from my list and my field of awareness. It's funny because, a lot of videos will say subscribe and ding, 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 whatever's, and like my video.
Yeah. And
I say the opposite. I say, if you feel afraid of me, go away.
you don't like what I'm saying? Leave.
Go away. Because
You're not interested in whatever we're doing?
literally, if somebody thinks that Walk With Me Now or me are cults, they are literally afraid of me. They're literally afraid of me. Am I scary, darling?
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm scary. How scary am I?
You can scare the bejesus off of I don't know, whatever.
How? How do I scare the bejesus out of some whatever?
I don't know. You have a presence, honey. Remember, you knocked my hat off without even touching it. Just went.
I was playing.
I know you were playing.
Yeah.
But you did.
How did I do it?
You went like this. And then my hat went. And I went, damn.
But I was just playing.
I know you're just playing. And then we're watching a scary movie. We're watching a scary movie, and I'm sitting there, and I get to try to scare you. Boo, boo, boo. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
And then it get me like that fast. So yeah, you got
I'm scary.
You're scary.
Are you saying I'm an evil person?
No, you're just good at startling me and knocking my head off without touching it.
Are you saying I'm a violent person?
Well, I haven't seen you commit any violent acts, so no.
All right. Anyways, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Very different. Mm-hmm. If you're still listening, wondering why I would not just write that sentence above, but fill it with mystical force. Did you feel it? Did you feel the mystical force?
Force that makes your hat go flying.
Uh-huh.
Indeed.
Then there is the reason. Walk With Me Now is not created for or by victim-minded individuals. If a person puts me or calls me a cult leader, pushing all of their victim-aggressor energy onto me, then they are the person I have zero interest in. You're not interesting if you think that. That person does not believe in independent thought, sovereign power, mature awareness, or the capacity for wisdom keepers continuing to seek wisdom and banding together to create a new Alandalu on Earth. They do not believe in the human collective's choice of a new reality upon this Earth.
Alandalu? What Alandalu? Alandalu.
Of course, when I say Alandalu.
Yeah, I don't have no idea. I've never heard of it. Alandalu.
I'm not just talking about the Iberian regions controlled by the Muslims in the 1700s.
Well, that's a bit obscure, isn't it?
I'm talking about something very different that is often scrubbed from our historical education and records. For a while, just south of Castilla, in modern Spain, and spanning across all of the Iberian Peninsula, were cities where education, art, engineering, alchemy, and all forms of human innovation and growth was encouraged and protected. It didn't matter if you were a Druid, Celt, Christian, Muslim, or what race or color of your skin was, you were able to live in harmony with others of the same inclination of discovery and expansion of awareness in safety.
That seems peculiar that I would never hear of such a thing.
No, right? Scrubbed, man. Scrubbed. It actually lasted hundreds of years. Yeah, it lasted hundreds of years.
Huh. All right. That sounds like something that's worth investigating.
Yeah. How long this contract lasted and what was achieved within it as a matter of record, you can actually find out how long this lasted.
Okay.
I bet it's hard to find records on the records are in forgotten libraries within cities and towns in their geographical region where it once existed, and the art's there.
So we got to go to Spain
and or Portugal.
Or Portugal, and then look in old libraries.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. Well, hopefully we know something.
Or little museums and stuff,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is getting interesting.
How the experiment of this phase of Al-Andalus ended was in blood and destruction.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
The Catholics and the Christians above Castile and France and all those saw it as a massive, what would you say?
Blasphemy, probably.
Yeah, blasphemy upon everything. And they were very, very afraid of it because there were all these people uniting, from across cultures and countries. So it was a threat to them. So they decided to go to war. They called it the Holy War, I think.
Some kind of a crusade.
Definitely, yes. And they murdered and pillaged and destroyed the Muslim
strange thing is
Jews.
How that becomes a thing that not everyone, but for the most part, you think about holy crusade kind of a thing. Somehow it has an implant in the body that's a good thing in a way. That's like righteous and good and holy and whatever, all the words that are assigned to these kind of a things where you're bringing God and Jesus and I guess saving souls and a bunch of stuff, right?
Okay.
But I don't understand why the application of all of that has to be so violent,
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like the source of, a 90, if not a high 90% of the violence on the planet is basically some form of that crusaded on another,
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think the Al-Andalus people, who, by appearances would be intelligent, clever, smart, and observant, would allow themselves to be slaughtered like that? Or do you think they went into hiding? Or
they did go into hiding, and one of the things that I know about it is like the Jews that were involved also in Al-Andalus, they were given a choice, either convert to Catholicism or be burnt in the plaza, right?
Right.
And I think the same was, I don't know, but I think maybe that was also true for the Muslims, but I'm not 100% sure.
I did notice when we traveled that region, you really couldn't go 10 steps without some kind of fortress existing.
Mm-hmm.
Giant wall around a city. A wall is so thick you can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Underground, everything's, and
Mm-hmm.
tiny little holes to look out so nobody could get you while you're looking out. And like one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. So
yeah,
the Al-Andalus cities, what were they like at the time? Were they walled cities too, or were they open?
I think that the majority of them had walls. All I can think of is like what's left of them.
Yeah.
Whether in Seville or any of the other places, Toledo, many of the cities that still have those areas that were built are absolutely stunningly beautiful. They are just gorgeous, gorgeous. So not all of them got destroyed.
We just don't hear about it. And so we don't place the thought of their existence with the place that is there. We just say, wow, Seville's pretty.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was the Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter, and Christian quarters, which were neighborhoods that where the different religions lived among their own culture without having to be assimilated to any other culture. So they kept their own cultures.
But in the Al-Andalus, they merged their cultures and just worked together. Well, that's kind of what you said at the beginning.
No, I didn't say they merged. I said they
just existed together, but also
in their own little neighborhoods. Yeah. Right.
Oh, well,
yeah,
kind of that exists.
It's a long history. It's hundreds of years, and it's a long history. And it was based on the expansion of awareness, basically,
Right. It does seem, if you look in history, there have been phases where that's like the thrust of the time, right?
And I haven't gone into the depth of what happened before and after Al-Andalus. And this is the Al-Andalus I'm talking about, that mystical, magical exploration of the expansion of awareness of people and the humanity. But there was also times where the area was simply ruled by Muslims, right?
Yes.
And I don't know what that looked like before or after the expansion of this awareness. I know it was destroyed, right? And the Moors were pushed down back to Africa. And the Muslims were pushed out of that area. Yeah. And the Jews were also pushed out of there or converted. But yeah, like a lot of stuff was destroyed, but a lot of the stuff survived because it was just too beautiful to destroy, I suppose. Huh? True words.
Kitty.
And so anyways, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Well, if you were to go there, what would you find?
Where?
Al-Andalus.
It doesn't exist anymore. Al-Andalus is gone.
Well, if you were to go where it was, what evidences would you be able to find?
Well,
what evidences do you think persist into now, besides the
lot of
memory? I mean, where did you find out about
architecture? Well, it's not unknown.
Well, I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
it is
unknown in Spain, I suppose. It's not unknown in Spain.
Okay.
There's Seville or whatever. It's not unknown there, right?
All right.
And you go to any town or city, you're going to find evidence of it that has persisted through time and space.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That energy that was left behind. Okay, so how to experience, how long this, I'm going to reread that part because I think we lost the thread a little bit.
The plot.
How long this construct lasted and what was achieved within its a matter of record, albeit hard to find records on forgotten libraries within cities and towns in the geographical region where it once existed. How the experiment of this phase of Al-Andalus ended was in blood and destruction, and yet it left an energy behind, a spirit, one might think, of how things could be among those people who saw beyond small matters of race or religion and united in the spirit of human innovation, art, and progress.
It's almost utopian.
Almost utopian, yeah. And it lasted,
or more like light.
What really surprised me was it lasted hundreds of years. That's what really surprised me.
Yeah, there are phases where things like for hundreds of years will go nice.
Yeah.
And then, meow.
Walk with me now. It's not Al-Andalus. No. It is only a seed, whereas Al-Andalus was a forest. This seed, however, is powerful and spans the entire earth. My teams simply provide water, food for thought, and light, and the seed grows. But we need to grow from one seedling into a forest. That is why I invite you to join others of your ilk at Walk With Me Now and begin to be counted. You can stay a lone wolf, independent in thought and action, and at the same time be part of something greater than the sum of its parts. The classes I have released in the past 10 years, as well as thousands of insights and exploration of reality in the forum, as well as high-caliber men and women to study and explore reality with, is all within my platform, all available to you from day one. If you are in any way afraid that I am inviting you over here to exploit you, don't join, because you're still carrying the programs of victimhood, which are not compatible with the nature of my teachings. Do you feel manipulated by my words, thinking I say them to create FOMO and a challenge?
FOMO's fear of missing out, in case you don't know.
No, I'm not doing that. I literally feel you're better served elsewhere. My teachings and my platform are not for you. If my words made you giggle and clearly understood where I'm coming from, welcome. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yeah, one of the keys is like, all this suffering made me the person I am today.
If you believe that, and you're wondering why I don't, why I'm telling you that is a falsehood,
false teaching,
and a false teaching, if you're curious,
that's one of the
that's interesting
keys to entry.
Yes, that's one of the keys. You find that interesting? You want to know more? Anyways, this week on drivingtotherest.com that you're listening to right now, Larry and I will be talking to two of our second hour panelists, Dr. Kara and Ash, and they meet up with other Walk With Me Now members in no other than the land where the mystical, magical Al-Andalus existed all those centuries ago. Let's see where these mystics have to say about their trip, the meetings with online friends, co-explorers of reality, powerful and high-caliber individuals, and the conclusions they have come up with regarding the unification of wisdom seekers and keepers, sovereign individuals across the world. What do you think about that?
I think it will be interesting to hear what their experiences have been, and I'm very impressed and I know proud of them in some way, because this is like a work trip, right? Mm-hmm. It originated with 9-to-5 job. And oftentimes in the world, I find people like separate their 9-to-5 job. It's like I go to work, and when I get done with work, then I have my real life,
my meditation,
vice versa. Like real life's at work, and then my other life is this one, and they're separated and concrete.
And mystical study.
Yeah, and the Sasquatches and UFOs and these things. Like, not at work though.
No, not at work. No.
So this is one of those. It is work,
a
work trip, and the invitation was, oh, well, let's include our mystical life in our work, and made a little invitation to those that they know there and those that they know here to meet up in Portugal, and let's do a little workshop too about reactivity training.
Yeah, which is one of my tools.
One of our tools. The tool you brought in and taught us with. One of the favorite parts of that reactivity training is learning how to not be quite so, reactive to just like little triggers.
Yeah.
Some of the best ways to test that reactivity is with dad jokes.
With dad jokes.
Dad jokes are like a classic reactivity training tool.
Yes, dad jokes.
I would be curious if you have one that comes to mind.
A dad joke?
Yes. There were a few that were examples, remember, because this one's going to be the European version.
Yeah.
Something about France. Was it? Do you remember any of them?
No.
Pull one up, honey. We'll pause for a second. So,
okay.
Give us a couple of examples. The job here is to try not to react. Like, yes. Don't laugh.
I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised. Oh no, you reacted, honey.
I'll try again.
Okay. Why don't skeletons fight each other?
I already lost it.
They don't have the guts.
No guts. Okay. Okay. One more.
Why don't scientists trust atoms anymore? Because they make up everything.
They make up everything. And then you believe it, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Well, it's going to be fun to talk to Ash and Kara and the maybe a few of who they meet up with.
Yeah.
And see how their reactivity training goes. See if they have any of these dad jokes that they have on their, standby list to get good reactions.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Okay, we'll see you in the next hour.
And thank you for your support. If you subscribe for $8 a month, it makes a difference.
Massive difference.
Massive difference.
Because, honey.
Thank you for your input, darling.
I'll take it into consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
So we're very excited about your trip.
Yes, we were.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very excited.
Yes.
And very proud of you.
You met some Walk With Me Now members recently
Mm-hmm.
in Portugal.
Yeah.
How did this meetup come about? Can you tell us that?
Yeah.
About?
So I'm gonna go through the whole story.
Okay,
And
whole story.
Ashley was going. She said, "Do you want to come?" And I said, "Okay." So I went.
That's
pretty
brilliant.
straightforward.
She probably explained a lot more about how and the orchestrations.
it started where my work and my 9 to 5 job,
Mm-hmm.
every year we have a retreat. And for some reason this year, last year they decided that the retreat for 2025 was going to be in Portugal.
Mm.
And so when I found that out, I let everybody know on Walk With Me Now so that we could schedule a meetup. And I didn't know exactly where or how that would look like. I just knew the event was sometime in May and I would be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny because Ileana and I then were planning to do a Wise Woman event.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we were like,
Here,
"Hey,"
though, right?
we were going to do it there.
Oh, there.
Yeah, actually, we were going to do it in Romania.
Oh,
So we were going to
wow.
I was going to go to Portugal and then her and I would meet in Romania.
Yes, okay.
And then there was some schedule conflicts and things that we didn't foresee. And so it didn't work out. We weren't going to be able to do it. So then my plan was just to go. And I happened to be telling my family over Christmas that I was going. And then my sisters and my mom were like, "Let's go. You make it like a girls' trip."
Well, girls trip.
Nice.
Join us for the rest of this conversation at driveintotheres.com.
And when you go to driveintotheres.com and you join in the rest of the show, rest of the second hour, you also get to join in the after party. 9 o'clock on Fridays, we all get together, including you.